there's not always a pat on the back that follows when things are going swimmingly on special teams, but when the inverse is true, that the scrutiny can be severe. Just how do you reflect on this last game and just those two really game-altering plays on special teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's a great reminder for all of us, myself included, right? Like, fourth down, you can't afford, right, to have any type of mental lapse. You can't let up ever. Like we talk about dominating fourth down, which that's what we've done. But unfortunately, there's two situations, right, that negatively impacted the game. But to me, the thing I love about coaching this team is you come in here on Sunday and everybody's locked in, guys are learning from it. Everybody's picking up the guys that had the issues, and encouraging them. And that's ultimately what this is all about, because it's all about how we respond. And you look at how we've prepared this week; it's been great so far. So I think we're doing things the right way moving forward.
What have you worked on with Malachi and that drop in the red zone early in the game? First thing you started with the passes. What have you worked on?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just securing the catch. Like he it's like everybody, right? Like you get so excited, like you can taste that end zone, you can smell it, and ultimately, like he just picked his eyes up a little bit early. You see it on film, so it's just a constant reminder. Whether we're in routes on air, practice, pre-practice, or we're catching tennis balls, it's always securing it to the tuck right there. He's so dang dynamic with the ball in his hands. Like you saw it later on in the game. Like he's always making the first guy miss, dragging people. It's like that's your special ability, but you can't do any of that without the ball in your hands. So you got to secure that catch.
Jacob Bronowski as the clear starter, and then now it's listed as all three of them in the depth chart. I'm curious what led to that change.
I just think a testament to Justin and a testament to Malachi and really Jake too. Like all those guys are pushing each other every single week. We're competitive on the field, but it's competitive in the meeting room as well. And the best part is it's all those guys. Like there's never anything that they're trying to get another guy, maybe keep a nugget from them. Like they're always pouring into each other. So ultimately, that's what has led to them really having the right to all play a decent amount.
Trey misses that first kick of West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
What allows him to just go through that and continue forward?
Yeah, I think one, it's who he is as a person. Like he lives in the moment. We talk about that in our room all the time, like throughout the summer. And you got to train that response, right? Like if you miss a kick in practice, so you got to train how you're going to respond. You can't go over there and be like, oh, well, on game day I wouldn't respond that way. Like no, how you practice, how you're going to respond. And so that's who he is all the time. Like he's very even keeled, and what a great job by him responding in a hostile environment, in a big game with must need field goals too, right? And so I think that's just who he is. And we do a good job as a specialist group. Those older guys, like Caleb Junko's obviously been through a lot in his career, so he's able to help him. I know he's talked with Ben, so he's got all kinds of good people in his ears.
The fact that Bukowski has hit some field goals from distance at this point through 4 games, I think as long as 46 now.
That's right.
Has that sample size do you feel more confident in him now that you've seen that from him, as opposed to maybe just starting out and not exactly knowing what you were going to get?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I told you that first game, sending a 17 or 18-year-old guy out there to say, like, oh, yeah, he's going to make every single one. But I was always really confident in Trey. Like, that was one thing I loved about him in the recruiting process. He's a very, stoic, poised, competitive guy. He played multiple sports. He was really good at lacrosse. He does motocross and stuff, which he needs to do less of that, obviously, now. But, yeah, that's just who he is. And so, now the confidence is through the roof, and he had a great day today, and you can start to see that kind of swagger about him. I think during practice I saw him dancing at one point, so he's starting to get some swagger about himself.
At what point do you start feeling comfortable expanding his game range?
To me, it's just about the flow of the game too. At the end of the day, offensively, whatever's happening, if we feel like we got a great play for fourth down, then we're going to go there. I think at this point, we feel really good putting him out there up to really anywhere. Obviously up to his max, but yeah, we feel really confident no matter where the ball's at once we get on the plus side of the field.
Which is max at about right now?
I don't want to say that.
In those situations, like those fourth down situations where decisions have to be made, it's all happening really quick. What's your role? Are you just waiting to get the nod of whether to send the tight ends out or the punt team out?
Yeah, Coach Dews will ask before the drive or as the drive gets going. I usually say hey, this is where we got to get to, depending on the wind and the conditions, how he was in pregame, all that kind of stuff. Luckily we've been really blessed, knock on wood, that the wind has been next to nothing in Acrisure, which is rare. But that's usually kind of how it goes throughout the course of the drive.
blunder on kick return from the other day, but what have your impressions been on kick and punt return so far through these 4 seasons?
I think it's been good. You know, I mean, you look at a stretch. You know, the first 3 games this season, we have, I believe it was 5 punt returns of over 20 yards. You know, so we define an explosive punt return of 20 yards. So you have 1 per game there. You know, so like obviously you can't say that like they're doing a great job. Our players are doing a great job. They're doing a great job coming up meetings, seeing the tape, and executing. And it also plays into you're getting the kicks, you know, because that's the hard part in special teams navigating is, you know, sometimes you get pitches to hit, no different in baseball, and sometimes you don't. You know, like we can have a great plan, but also if that ball is not hit to where we kind of need it to be hit, like that plan kind of goes out the window. So we've been fortunate enough there to get those pitches. So I'm happy with our guys. There's some things to clean up for sure. You know, KOR especially, we got to be a little bit smarter. You know, returning balls that are outside of our target zone there. But you know, I mean, it paid off there at the end of the game. Got a good return by Blue Hicks. So yeah, I'm really happy with where those 2 units are at, and those guys are really doing a great job. All those guys.
Have your tight ends been as blockers so far this year?
I would say, you know, I think we've improved. You know, we're doing a much better job of staying connected on blocks. Like that was a big point of emphasis moving out of last season into this year, this off season of, you know, we had to be able to sink our hips, snap down, and roll our hips into contact. And so I think you're seeing that. You know, we're doing a better job being thick on the second level. I think that's probably where we've improved the most is blocking those linebackers, blocking safeties in the alley. Like we're actually staying connected on those blocks and straining, you know, which is always great because we got dynamic guys with the ball in their hand, and we want to do everything we can to give them a little bit extra space.
Are they pass blocking more this year than they did last year?
We have, yeah. We've been in there a little bit more, you know, in some full slide protection stuff. So they've all done a great job, and kudos to our defensive line. You know, all fall camp, all spring. Like, I mean, we obviously know we get 9 techniques with our D line, and you know, Jimmy Scott and Blaine Spires, and you know, those guys. Like, they do a great job giving us looks all season long, and so I mean, that's why you see it pay off during the season. Like we're ready to roll because we've done it for 15, 30 practices, spring ball and fall camp.
Seems like Kenny Johnson's gotten more and more comfortable returning punts. When Dez does come back, is that just more of, hey, let's just keep him at running back, or do you think he'll come back and return some punts as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all kind of based on how Dez is doing, you know, and so from there, like, you know, we'll talk about that, obviously with Big L and the offensive staff. I know we've talked about how aggressive we are with him, but obviously, you know, coming off an ankle, we got to do what's best for the team. You know, that's where Kenny Johnson, like, you always felt good about Kenny, you know, knowing that, I mean, Kenny's a dynamic guy too. You know, it's not as if there's this huge drop-off. Like, Kenny's a dynamic guy, and Kenny does a great job of fielding punts too that are out of that target range. So, I mean, I'm happy with both of them, and I think ultimately we're blessed to have 2 guys that you feel like can take it the distance anytime they're back there.
Last year, Eli didn't throw a touchdown to a tight end, and already through this year, I want to say it's 3 or 4.
3.
Is it 3? And so what's that been like for you, seeing them get more in the mix, get those touchdowns?
I mean, anytime as a coach you get to see your guys, you know, perform, you know, as hard as they work and the amount of time that we spend together. I mean, it's euphoric, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, seeing Josh Altman score a touchdown, like you know, almost makes you cry a little bit, you know, just because he's a special dude. And same thing with Malachi. He's worked so dang hard, and so you get to see him do that. You know, next one up is Jake Overman. We kind of got a joke in the room that he's the last one to get in. You know, Max got tackled on the 2-yard line, so he's allergic to the end zone right now. So Max got to get that cleaned up. But no, I mean, it's awesome to see for those guys because of the work that they put in the run game and everything. You know, get rewarded.
In terms of hang time, distance, everything under the sun when it comes to punting, just how would you assess Junko so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a great stretch, you know, and I know even, you know, I think last game it was a little bit of a down performance for him, and he would say that same thing too. You know, I think the biggest thing this year is his kick locations have been great. I mean, he's been painting sidelines, like everything's been outside the numbers. Now this last game, he left a couple towards the middle of the field, so he's got to clean that up. But I think he's improved a ton there because last season, like you look at his spray charts and stuff, it's close to the hash. That's what led to us having such a high return percentage last year. So that was a big focal point going into this offseason, and he's cleaned that up. You know, and I'm excited. He had a great day today. You know, so I'm excited to see him to continue to progress there.
Well, good.
Appreciate it, guys.